Every great creative work stands on the shoulders of giants. Welcome to RetroInspection, where we examine and find out where the things we love today came from.
Speaking of being 130 years old, this was a bona fide worldwide best-selling hit.
Yeah.
People love this book.
Mm-hmm.
It sparked their imagination in Europe and America, and it was quite popular. And some have argued that it's this commentary on Victorian sexuality and maybe even a protest against Victorian ideas. But I didn't get any of that from this. The sexuality in it, I don't, people have argued there's some sort of sublimated homosexual stuff in there. I didn't see that. I didn't see the only thing that was mildly prurient were the Dracula's brides and the way they wanted to eat Harker,
Right,
and then Dracula himself and the way he treats Mina, for example.
Yeah, but also the part where, as they're about to start gnawing on Harker, he stops the brides.
Yeah.
And claims Harker as his own. So yeah, like if you want to get into that, you then at that point you start going, well, why does Dracula want to claim Harker? Is Dracula AC Doocy is the short version.
and I mean, we want as an aside, we've got Stoker, who people have claimed various things about because of his friendship with Oscar Wilde.
Yeah, and they were both right. They were both Trinity College guys. They were both Dubliners. They certainly had a connection through Stoker's eventual wife, Florence Holcomb, because at one point she was never formally engaged to Wilde, but she had been involved with him. She had been involved with Daphne du Maurier's dad, George, who wrote a novel called Trilby, which is like his main claim to fame. Florence is was regarded as one of the great beauties of her time. She got around in a non-sexual sense.
Right.
I'm not saying anything about Florence Holcomb's, conduct. I'm just saying, by Victorian standards, she dated a lot. And maybe if we assume there's anything unconventional about Stoker's sexuality, which is a hell of an assumption, there's actually no real there's no evidence for it. Oscar Wilde, there's evidence. And in fact, in the strict legal sense, there was evidence.
Why quibble, Nick?
Wilde was married, and he did have 2 kids.
Right, and Stoker did as well.
Yeah, right. And George du Maurier, we had at least 1 kid. So I don't know anything about. I haven't read up on him. I haven't read Trilby. I actually went and fetched it from Gutenberg, but because of this, but I haven't read it. You want to get into that because I suppose it's there if you want it. Like if you need to stretch for that, fine. There's your small bit of textual. All we can say is once he gets to England, Dracula, so far as we know, is only chowing down on women, because he gets Lucy Westenra and he gets Mina, Murray / Harker.
Speaking of Renfield, though, does he actually feed on Renfield, or does he just?
Not that I don't. I didn't see that. No.
Because Renfield's dying confession I thought maybe alluded to that a little bit, but I kind of don't think. And frankly, I was really shocked at the way Dracula treated Renfield. I had always assumed that he was this, henchman guy, and to be basically folded in two by Dracula.
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting.
He's a key with legs. So, further, other dramatizations of Renfield have given him a larger role. Again, including the most recent movie of the title. Vampire stuff is coming. The last 10 years or so, vampire stuff's coming back. We'll probably chase that down
right
in a minute. Yeah, but you think about the way the way Dracula behaves in this novel is, of course, utter sociopathic disdain for every human, but he still has not dropped his European noble nonsense. So it's not merely that all humans mean nothing to him except as sources of nutrition. It's also that they are still, even though he's been dead for hundreds of years, he's still worried about his goddamn social rank.
Right.
So it's like all these people are beneath him, both as organisms and as members of society, because he's Count Dracula. It's like,
oh yeah, and when they confront him, as he's feasting on Mina or having Mina feast on him, he goes into this crazy, this crazy, almost political speech about how I was the one who protected you and all of this stuff. It's kind of weird.
It's right. It's part of this whole European culture thing.
Noblesse oblige.
No, oblige means that like they're doing something nice because they think that's part of their role. No, this is noblesse shittiness.
Well, no. I mean, he. What I'm talking about is he was talking about his. He was referencing his duty as a noble to protect them.
Right. Yeah. So, supposedly that was the feudal exchange.
Right.
Was the serfs do all this stuff for you, and in return, you protect them. It's like no,
and feast on their blood.
Precisely. What a crock. Every now and then you kidnap one of their babies and feed it to your wife.
Right. Yeah, they don't need them. They don't need that baby.
Well, but this is why, seriously, if you go to like parts of Eastern Europe, Romania, and some parts of Hungary and stuff, Vlad Tepes to this day is still a folk hero because he protected Europe from the Turkish Ottoman Empire.
Right.
Okay, never mind all of the rough count of thousands of people that he murdered in one of your more horrific manners. Sure, no.
Yeah.
Let's have a parade for this guy.
Like, subscribe, repost, share everywhere. To see what else we're up to, visit xynobooks.com, xenobooks.com.